I'm going to destroy him." The words hung heavy in the kitchen air as I slammed the laptop shut. Emma froze, her wine glass suspended mid-air, eyes wide. For 9 years, she'd known me as easygoing Nick Hayes, the calm IT consultant who cracked jokes to dodge conflict, the man who de-escalated tension with a laugh, but the man standing before her now, fists clenched, jaw locked, was a stranger. "Nick," she breathed, carefully setting her glass down. "What's going on?" The fury burning inside me was alive, clawing for release. On my laptop screen had been irrefutable proof Max Dalton, her boss, had tampered with Emma's financial models, planted errors in her reports, and fabricated an HR complaint, all because my wife had refused to sleep with him. "I'm talking about making sure Max Dalton never hurts you or anyone else again," I said, my voice disturbingly even. Emma slowly pushed back from the table, the chair legs scraping loudly against the hardwood. "You're scaring me," she said softly. "This isn't like you." I forced a deep breath into my lungs, trying to leash the anger before it consumed me. "Maybe it should be me," I said quietly. "Maybe I've been too damn passive while this bastard dismantled everything you've built." Emma rounded the table and laid her hands on my shoulders. "Nick, please," she whispered. "If we attack him directly, it'll only backfire. Max has connections, power. The firm will protect him." "And I have this," I said, tapping the closed laptop. "Evidence. Proof. Enough to bring him down." Her eyes widened. "How did you—" "Does it matter?" I cut her off. "What matters is that I can prove it." She bit her lower lip. The same nervous habit she'd had since college. "Even with proof," she said, "the finance world shields men like Max. They'll bury this before it touches him." I stood, taking her trembling hands in mine. "Do you trust me?" Without hesitation, she answered, "With my life." "Then trust me with this. I have a plan." It had begun 3 months earlier, when Max Dalton first swaggered into Blackidge Capital as the new head of investment strategy. That night, Emma came home with conflicted eyes. "He's brilliant," she admitted, tossing off her heels and sinking onto the sofa. "Harvard MBA, 5 years at Goldman, turned around Morgan Stanley's Asian markets division." "You don't sound thrilled," I said, handing her a glass of wine. She sighed, swirling the drink absently. "There's something about him off. The way he looks at the female analysts, how he interrupted Sophia 3 times during one meeting. She took a slow sip. He even called me sweetheart when asking for the Peterson portfolio numbers. "In this century?" I asked, incredulous. "Welcome to Wall Street," she said grimly. "Some things never change." But this time they did, fast. And for the worse, the inappropriate comments multiplied. The stares lingered longer. Private strategy. Meetings behind closed doors became the norm. One night, Emma stormed into the living room, late, furious, her face flushed. "He asked me to dinner?" She spat, pacing. "Said he knew a discreet little place where we could get to know each other. Better." She mimicked his silky voice with disdain. "When I reminded him I'm married, he laughed, Nick. Actually laughed, and said—" She swallowed hard. "I'm not asking for your hand, Emma. Just a mutually beneficial arrangement." My hands curled into fists. "What did you say?" I demanded. I told him no, professionally and personally. I was firm. She stopped pacing, locking eyes with me. He just smiled, Nick, like it was a game, said, "We'll see." I pulled her into a hug, feeling her body trembling, with anger against mine. "He can't touch you," I murmured into her hair. "He's just another entitled asshole who can't handle rejection." But Emma pulled back, eyes serious. "You don't understand. Men like him don't lose. And when they do, they don't forget." That night, long after she'd fallen into a restless sleep, I lay awake. Something bad was coming. I could feel it. And I was right. The retaliation came subtly at first. Suddenly, Emma's ideas were questioned in meetings. A key client was pulled from her portfolio without explanation. Her performance reviews, once stellar, now included strange criticisms about her attention to detail and team synergy. Howard asked if everything was okay at home, Emma said one evening, barely touching her dinner. He said my work isn't up to my usual standard. Howard Bennett, senior partner, longtime mentor, didn't say things lightly. What did you tell him? I asked. The truth. That my work hasn't changed. She rubbed her forehead. But then he showed me the reports Max forwarded. And Nick, there were errors. Stupid mistakes. Ones I know weren't there when I submitted them. The sabotage worsened. Financial models tampered with. Emails vanishing. Documents disappearing. It's him, she said, exhausted. I know it's him, but I can't prove it. That's when I decided, if the system was rigged, we'd have to rig it back as a cybersecurity consultant. I had skills most people didn't. Skills I could use. I need your work laptop, I told her. Just for one night. She hesitated. Nick, that's against company policy. If they find out... Do you trust me? Her gaze didn't waver. Completely. That night, while Emma slept, I installed discrete tracking, programs onto her machine. Nothing harmful, just software to capture file changes, user activity, and backup originals to a secure cloud outside Blackage's reach. Around 3:30 a.m., Emma appeared at the doorway, rubbing her eyes. What are you doing? She mumbled. Without looking up, I said, making sure we catch him. She shuffled over, watching lines of code scroll across the screen. Is this even legal? She whispered. I hesitated. Technically? No. But neither is what he's doing to you. After a beat, she nodded. Then do it. Within a week, the evidence piled up. The logs didn't lie. Look, I said one evening, pointing at the screen. Tuesday night, 9:48 p.m. He accessed the server using his own credentials, opened your Singapore analysis, made changes to 3 valuation figures, shifted the entire projection by 8%. Emma leaned closer, her eyes flashing with anger. And here, Thursday, he used an administrator override, logged into your email, sent incorrect allocations to the Johnson team, then deleted the sent record to cover his tracks. That bastard, Emma whispered. No wonder they've been blaming me all week. But outing him now would be reckless. If we showed the logs, Blackage would just claim we'd breached policy and bury both of us. We needed more. The Peterson proposal is missing, Emma cried one night, frantically rifling through her briefcase. Nick, I know I had it. When did you last see it? I asked, trying to steady her. Right before I left the office. I printed it. I put it in my bag. She lunged for her laptop, but when she pulled up the server, the file was gone, vanished. That's when I made my decision. If Max Dalton wanted dirty, he'd get dirty. The next day, Jonathan Wexler was born, a Harvard grad with a sparkling resume, a rich digital footprint, and pristine references, all fabricated by me. Jonathan Wexler applied for a quality assurance position at Blackage Capital. Nick, this is insane, Emma said, pacing our living room. If you get caught, I won't, I said, though the truth was less certain. It's temporary. Get in, gather what we need, get out. And your real clients? I'll tell them I'm consulting, on a special project. Most of my work's remote anyway. Emma wrapped her arms around herself like she was cold. This is too risky. Computer fraud, corporate espionage. These are serious charges, Nick. What's the alternative? I asked, stepping closer. Stand by and watch him destroy everything you've built? She stopped, her chest heaving with unshed tears. I didn't say it aloud, but I knew. We were already at war, and Max Dalton had no idea what was coming for him. She paced, conflict flashing in her eyes. There has to be another way. I'm open to suggestions, I said softly. Silence. Then, a whisper. Just be careful. I couldn't handle losing you over this. I crossed the room and pulled her close. Nothing's going to happen. I do security. Audits for a living. This isn't a test, Nick. Max Dalton isn't some clueless client. He's dangerous. I kissed her forehead. So am I, when someone threatens what I love. 2 weeks later, Jonathan Wexler started at Blackidge Capital. Entry level, forgettable. Perfect. The first day was surreal. I'd been here before, holiday parties, lunches with Emma, but now I had a badge, a desk, an agenda. Blend in. Stay invisible. Jonathan Wexler was built for this. Competent, likable, utterly unremarkable. While I played the part, I mapped the building's internal systems, watching who stayed late, who had access, who mattered. By day 7, I had email server, access. By day 14, security camera feeds. By day 21, Max Dalton's private files. What I found chilled me. A spreadsheet of 27 women, targeted, categorized, compliant, resistant, terminated. Emma's name was there, marked resistant. Phase 2 initiated. Audio files captured Max blackmailing women during performance reviews. Personal dossiers listed their vulnerabilities, sick parents, financial struggles, medication history. He stalked them, broke them, and erased them. Emma was next. I encrypted everything, stored it on a secure cloud server. This wasn't just about protecting her anymore. This was about stopping a predator. HR called, Emma said one night, hollow-eyed. Serious concerns about my conduct. I masked my rage. Did they say what exactly? No, just allegations. Nick, even if they clear me, the stain never fades. I took her hands. Do you trust me? Of course. Then let me handle this. Listen, say nothing, sign nothing. We'll get a lawyer. Nick, we can't afford. We'll find a way. I didn't tell her my real plan was already in motion. That night, as Emma cried herself restless, I assembled a dossier so airtight even corporate lawyers couldn't ignore it. Day 23 at Blackidge, 3 a.m. I slipped past the sleeping night guard, rode the elevator to the executive floor, disabled motion sensors. Inside Max's office, dark wood, skyline views, trophies of false respectability, I cracked his computer with a bypass device. The deeper files were worse than I'd imagined. Playbooks on isolating targets, fabricated misconduct evidence, compromising photos taken without consent, leverage lists, debts, illnesses, family issues. Emma was on that list, and so was I. A sound outside froze me. Footsteps, keycard beep, keypad clicks. I slipped behind the curtains just before the door opened, the night guard doing rounds. I held my breath, heart pounding, until he finally moved on. I copied everything, wiped my tracks, and vanished. The next evening, Emma broke down. They have fake emails, Nick, from my account, to clients, to colleagues. He spoofed them, Emma. I know because I've seen how it's done. Her eyes widened. How do you know so much? I hesitated. I've been studying corporate sabotage, preparing for this. She nodded, exhausted, suspended. No pay. Pending investigation. The clock was ticking. Day 25 at Blackidge. 9:17 a.m., an anonymous email landed in Margaret Chen's inbox, the one executive known for her incorruptible reputation. Subject, Max Dalton. Sexual harassment, evidence tampering, urgent attached, meticulously organized evidence, a clear, devastating story no one could ignore. By 9:32 a.m., security cameras recorded the first signs of the unraveling. During a meeting on quarterly metrics, my mind kept drifting to my phone, discreetly streaming security footage from the executive floor. At 4:45 p.m., Max Dalton walked into Lawrence Blackage's office. I watched the scene unfold with rising tension. His confident demeanor seemed intact as he entered. But when he left 22 minutes later, his face was ashen. He retreated to his office, locking the door behind him and making frantic calls to his lawyer, his wife, and Victor Keene. At 5:37 p.m., Margaret Chen entered Max's office, flanked by 2 security guards. After some terse words, Max's fury erupted. He seized a crystal award from his desk and threw it against the wall. Security was quick to restrain him. "What's going on?" Melissa, a colleague, asked as she noticed my distraction. I quickly shut off the feed. "Just checking a database." "Issue," I muttered. By 5:52 p.m., Max was escorted out of the building. At 6:14 p.m., a company-wide email announced his resignation. At 6:27, another email went out to all female employees who had worked with him, asking for confidential meetings with the legal department. Then, my phone rang. It was Emma, her voice shaky. "They've called me in for a meeting tomorrow. It's urgent." The next morning, I resigned from Blackage. Jonathan Wexler claimed a family emergency and vanished. By noon, I sat in a cafe, waiting anxiously for Emma's call. When she finally rang, her words were a rush. "They know everything. The harassment, the sabotage, the lies." A whistleblower had exposed Max's crimes. "I've been cleared, reinstated with back pay," she continued. "And they've offered me Max's position, double my salary, a corner office, voting rights." I pulled her into a tight hug. "You've earned every bit of it," I whispered. As I held her, I caught sight of my laptop bag with the encrypted files still stored in the cloud, proof of my illegal actions, my corporate infiltration, the evidence that could destroy me. I'd delete it all tomorrow. The damage to Max was done. Later, as we walked through the park, Emma said, "It's odd, isn't it? The timing of the whistleblower, the evidence coming out just when it did?" I met her gaze. Sometimes the universe delivers justice in ways we don't expect. That night she asked, "Do you know who it was? The whistleblower?" I stayed calm, but the truth lingered on the edge of my mind. "I had some contacts look into Blackage's systems," I replied. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. Weeks passed, and Max's life crumbled. Divorce, lawsuits, and his career destroyed. I saw him months later in Midtown, no longer in a designer suit, now wearing khakis, his once commanding presence diminished. For a moment, I felt pity, but then Emma's pain, the women he'd hurt, flashed in my mind. The pity faded. Emma flourished in her new role. Her confidence returned, and the tension in her shoulders disappeared. Life felt better, and we began to dream about the future, buying a house, maybe even starting a family. Then came the encrypted email. "I know what you did. We need to talk." The coordinates led to a secluded spot in Central Park. At 3 p.m. the next day, I met Valerie Norris, Max's former assistant. She had watched Max's abusive behavior for years but had been too afraid to speak out. "You did what I couldn't," she said, handing me a thumb drive. "This is your insurance." I took the drive, stunned. "Thank you," she said, before walking away, leaving me with the weight of the truth in my hands.